As we drive south to Keuka Lake, we find on its northern shores a place where children and adults with cancer go to get away from the dispiriting environments of hospitals and doctors' offices in their fight against this disease. We also find a place where they fight the loneliness of cancer. Loneliness because cancer patients feel like they just don't fit in with the regular world anymore. It's not a contrived corporate gung-ho, let's put on a brave face charade. It is instead the essence of courage. A place where courage knows no boundaries. A place I have visited and felt its magic. Camp Good Days and Special Times. This is Candace Bergen.
The whole adventure of Camp Good Days is magical.
This place isn't special, it's magical.
Very magical.
It all started 30 years ago.
Never in my wildest imagination did I ever think I'd be sitting at the University of Rochester waiting for my youngest of 3 children, Teddy, who was 9 at the time, to come out of 7.5 hours of brain surgery, only to be told by the neurosurgeon in early May, when he told me they couldn't get it all and it was malignant and they wanted to start 8 weeks of radiation. I said to Dr. Nelson, her neurosurgeon, I said, "Is Teddy going to be alive at Christmas?" And he looks at me and said, "Mr. Mervis, I'm not God." You'd look at her and I just wished I could just pick her up and hug her real close and make the boo-boo go away. And then I realized that there's not a darn thing I can do, that this was ultimately Teddy's battle and left up to a higher power. And what I learned very quickly was it wasn't the chemotherapy or the radiation or the surgery that was the most difficult part. It was the loneliness, because thank God childhood cancer is a rare childhood disorder. But at the time, Teddy was the only one in her entire elementary school that was dealing with this thing called cancer.
Teddy was diagnosed in 1979 and lost her battle to cancer on February 27, 1982. Her inspiration has grown through an idea that has changed the lives of more than 42,000 campers and their families, an idea called Camp Good Days and Special Times. And tonight, we invite you to join us to celebrate 30 years of courage.
It took just one child to change the world and inspire a dream that will live on forever, in a place full of hope where fragile young hearts can leave their worries behind. At Camp Good Days and Special Times.
I want to share with you all the great things Camp Good Days does for our community, how over the years Camp Good Days has become one of the largest organizations of its kind, with many of the programs and services started there being used as models for other cancer treatment centers and organizations around the world.
30 Years of Courage, a celebration of Camp Good Days and Special Times, is brought to you with no commercial interruption by Bonadio Financial Services and Canandaigua National Bank.
Today, Camp Good Days is dedicated to improving the quality of life for children, adults, and families whose lives have been touched by cancer and other life-threatening challenges through residential camping experiences held at their own beautiful recreational facility on Keuka Lake, as well as year-round recreational and support activities and events held across upstate New York in Rochester, Buffalo, Syracuse, and the Southern Tier region for families who are facing life's toughest challenges. Families and children like Ellie.
I'm here because I had cancer and gratefully I survived it.
Cancer of the eye threatens Ellie's vision, or worse.
It makes me feel very, very sick. I mean, it's the chemo, I think, that does it. And I don't want to talk at all. I mean, I just hum when I want to talk. because I just feel sick. I don't feel like moving around or eating or drinking anything. And
Well, because I said it would be good days when they were able to be at camp and share the experiences, and it would be special times, the memories that would carry them over when they were in and out of the hospital or receiving the most potent treatment that medical science could come up with. So I put it together and I said it's going to be Camp Good Days and special times.
Camp Good Days is like something that you can trust on and it wouldn't hurt you, and the friends are a lot of times nice, and there's no one that can hurt you, and you'll be treated very well.
Why aren't you sad the whole time? Isn't it, you know, depressing to see these children who are sick and, you know, they're just having a rough time in their life? And these kids, when they're with each other, are the strongest kids you will ever meet.
Most people who have heard of Camp Good Days may think they know what it's all about, but mostly they think how sad a place it must be. After all, cancer is frightening, baffling, and sometimes hopeless, and it seems even worse when children get it.
They ignore the fact that they're sick. I mean, sure, they have to take medicine. Sure, maybe they don't look like all the healthy kids out there at school, but they're the toughest, strongest kids you will probably ever meet. And they changed my life. They've taught me so much. So this place isn't sad. There's certain sad moments, but more than 3/4 of the time, you're laughing, cracking up, getting shaving creamed, getting hit by water balloons.
Tomorrow is so romantic too. We're doing a dance. A boy and a girl. A boy and a girl have to dance together tomorrow. I have a crush on Mitchell. He's cute too. I think he's probably like maybe a year older than me.
I'm gonna maybe fish a little, do some more archery. You can catch sunnies, strawberry necks, bluegills, and bass mostly. That's what you usually catch. I still have cancer, but I don't have much left to go. I have good days and special times here.
Another thing I was delighted to discover, so as not to place any additional financial burden on the families served, all of the programs and services provided by Camp Good Days are offered free of charge for the participants. This is only possible because of the support and generosity of so many individuals, businesses, and organizations, and the success of special fundraising events held throughout the year.
It's a shame that people have to experience loss.
Donna, who lost her husband to cancer, turned to Camp Good Days for support.
But there's places like this that help you deal with it better and help you get through it, because it's difficult. And I've always been a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. And I have met some wonderful people. Unfortunately, for a very bad reason. I had to lose my husband and my children had to lose their father, but there's good in the world. And a lot of it's here. Camp Good Days.
It's a different world today. The word cancer is not taboo anymore. It used to be, when I started Camp Good Days, that some people believed that when a child got cancer, it was the Lord's way of punishing the parents for some of the sins that they had committed. Nowadays, that's not the way it is. People are public's much more understanding. We've made a great deal of progress in understanding childhood cancer. In fact, where the real progress that has been made to date in cancer has been in certain forms of pediatric cancers. So there's much more hope today. Children are living longer than ever before with their cancer.
With a small group of paid employees, Camp Good Days is a volunteer-based organization, governed by a volunteer board of directors and relying on the dedication and service of thousands of volunteers to assist in the providing of programs and services.
My son came down with cancer at 14, and we went to Children's Hospital in Buffalo. One of the nurses recommended at that particular time to go to Camp Good Days. He was obviously full of steroids. He had a tumor called immature teratoma, I believe, which could be benign or malignant. And they gave him 3 months to live at the time. The course of when coming back, we were introduced to Camp Good Days. My wife was very reluctant to send him, obviously, for obvious reasons, I should say. And we sent him finally. My wife, we agreed that she can go.
Fritz's son survived much longer than 3 months.
He went to camp for 19 years, and I lost him in 2001. And on his deathbed, I promised him that I will help camp as long as I can live.
It's been a wonderful experience. It is like Disney World. When you come here, it's like no place else you've ever been. There's no other world. Nothing else exists when you're down here. This is your world that you're living in. And to create these times for these kids is remarkable.
I love it here. I really do. I enjoy it. There's love here. There's peace here. There's serenity. It's just a beautiful place. And the one thing that I really like to put to the forefront in all of this is going back to Gary Mervis. And with his situation, losing his child, he did not give up. He created something for his baby.
Nearly everyone says they cannot imagine not coming back to this camp one way or another, and I agree. Whether as a continuing camper or later as a counselor or even the guy who CPAs the camp's books or the woman who spent her last 30 years there as a nurse, none can imagine life without Camp Good Days. Where did all this peace, this relief come from? I've seen it myself. With no small amount of credit, the counselors and staff at these campers' sides took their cues from Gary Mervis and became true believers in the magic around us. Whether they are survivors themselves or just those who like to help, they all broadcast a spirit that resonates with everyone within shouting distance. Camp Good Days and Special Times is a place for life. It's also a place for a lifetime.
Well, I think Gary is the driving force behind Camp Good Days. Gary is Camp Good Days.
Well, the magic of Camp Good Days is it gives these children a chance to get back some of that childhood that their disease has robbed from them and get a chance to just be a kid again and do it with probably the only people in the world who really understand what it's like to be them, other children that are also dealing with cancer.
Vance, 14 years old, came all the way from the Bahamas for his special summer.
To do all the chat to the people, play some basketball, some tennis, some soccer, hang out with the cabin mates, talk to the counselors.
Vance fell in love with the camp the very first day and feels he's gotten so much from it.
Other kids with diseases like cancer and sickle cell, get to know them all better. So, hopefully I could come back next year and they'll be here.
That's what all of us want, for all of the children.
Most people just say friends come and go, but friends come and stay here at Camp Good Days.
This is a break for the kids from life as they see it in the hospital and the day in and day out drudgery of having to deal with an illness. And I think that even parents would be very surprised to come here.
Jan, who's been with the camp since the beginning, has seen it all.
I know I used to get calls after camp ended. I'd get calls from parents and they'd say to me, now so-and-so's telling me they were up in a seaplane. Now that's not true, is it? No. Oh yeah, they were up in a seaplane. They said they went on a hot air balloon. They didn't really go on a hot air. Oh yeah, they went on a hot air balloon. I mean, they get to do things that in their lives they would not be able to do. And I think that's the biggest reason, because this gives kids a chance to be kids, to be around people that they have a lot in common with. A lot of the counselors here, the staff here, have walked in their shoes. They're people that have had cancer themselves that come back to volunteer, so they understand a lot of this. And it gives them a chance just to have fun and not be the center of attention because they're different from somebody else.
Every kid comes to camp expecting one